Welcome to our university. We are very interested about your research. I found very interesting the anecdote about the painting, which was a forgery about Johannes Wimmer.
Hermann Goering actually bought this painting for a lot of money, and it was discovered much later to be a forgery by the great forger Hans van Meegeren, who sold it to him. And when it was discovered to be a forgery, a lot of things happened. Goering, who was already on trial for crimes against humanity, became suicidally depressed. Even though he was going to be executed, the news that his most precious painting was a forgery was terrible for him. And all of a sudden, the painting lost value. So it turned out that the forger of this had painted other paintings that he said were Vermeer's and were not. And when this news came out, these same paintings that people had revered and loved lost all their value. And I've been interested in that because I'm interested in the nature of pleasure. And I tried to make the case in one of my books, How Pleasure Works, that the pleasure we get from everyday things like food and drink and sex and objects, but also for things like artwork, are powerfully influenced by our beliefs about where they came from and what they really are.
For example, in one of your presentations, you showed the pictures of two very attractive people. And you said that if you provide extra information to the audience and you said, that is your cousin and that is your grandfather when he was young or something like that, everything changes, kills the libido because of the information that we receive.
Everything changes. And, you could find somebody very sexually attractive, but if it turned out you were looking at your sister, your brother, that'll make a big difference. But it also goes in the other way around. One of the findings I've always liked the best is that couples in very happy relationships think their partner is much more attractive than anyone else thinks they are. When you look at somebody and you're in love, they look better. And I think anybody with kids, most people with kids who love their kids think their kid is the most best looking person in the world, even though no one else thinks so. So this shows that your beliefs and your assumptions could influence how you experience the world. I find that immensely interesting.
About the origins, you say that the value that we give to objects is because we respect the history of that object.
There's all sorts of reasons why you'd value an object. You could value it for its use. A fast car, which is very reliable, is worth a lot more than a slow car that's unreliable. A lot of times a suit that looks nice and feels well is better than another sort. So that's part of it. That's the obvious part. But we're also powerfully influenced by where we believe something comes from. So if you wear a Rolex, for instance, it costs a lot of money. And you could buy a watch that's indistinguishable from a Rolex for a lot cheaper. But knowing that it's a Rolex or an Armani or a Gucci has a powerful influence on you and changes your appreciation of the object. And it's not just that. I have pictures in my refrigerator that were done by my kids when they were young. If you took them and replaced them with things that were duplicates, I wouldn't want them anymore. We've actually once did an experiment with children. This was my colleague, Bruce Hood. We created what we described as a duplicating machine. And so you put an object in one and it duplicates it in another one. It was all a trick. And then we got kids to give up their teddy bear, put it in one thing, reduplicate it. We asked them which one they wanted back, and they wanted the original back, even if they couldn't tell the difference.
So why do you think humans appreciate so much the creative process?
It's a really good question. I think there are different answers to it. One answer has to do with how we think about art. Every artwork is, in a sense, performance art. We're very sensitive to how it comes into being. And that might reflect something about how we think about actions in general. If you say something that's kind of hurtful, it makes a world of difference what was going on in the process and what you said it. Were you intending to hurt me? Have I misunderstood you? If you cook a meal, are you cooking it for me? Are you cooking it for yourself and giving me some? When we understand actions in general, we look towards their history. And I think we tend to look at artifacts and artwork the same way.
Thank you, Dr. Bloom. We appreciate your presence here. Thank you very much.